human-like species? Were they integrated, interbred? Were they wiped out?
Hi, so I got some stuff to add on to this. So in the video, it's mentioned that there were 9 or so different hominid species around the same, existing around the same time as Homo sapiens, and eventually, as we know, they all died out. And there's no evidence of like a global catastrophe or anything that would cause it, as well as no evidence of battles or anything, which, yeah, that makes sense. And there is evidence that Homo sapiens and at least a couple of these species coexisted at least somewhat peacefully due to the presence of Neanderthal and Denisovan DNA found in genomes of modern humans. So even if modern Homo sapiens did have a bit of a hand in, like, reducing the population of some of those hominid species, it wasn't entirely all war and battles, of course. It's also mentioned, though, that they go extinct around relatively the same time, but, like, if you look at that timeline, it's kind of hard to see in this, but all of the red is the Homo genus. And so it looks very close together, but if you look at the last, like, especially 1 million years, that, like, top bar up there, like, that is a pretty large time span. Like, if you look, Homo neanderthalensis goes extinct way later than, for example, Homo naledi. Like, it doesn't look that big on this graph, but that is a significant amount of time. And Homo erectus, they were around for a really long time. They were very successful, and they didn't just all dead suddenly. You can see by the little faded bit right at the top of the Homo erectus line, they just gradually kind of faded out instead of, like, it tend to go extinct, like, relatively similar time period, but even, like, that little bit, it is a significant period of time. That is quite a long time. Like, most of it was in the past, over the course of the past 1 million years, which is a long time. At least in the terms of human evolution, not really in the grand scheme of things. Here's an interesting correlation, not necessarily causation, but as we know, Homo sapiens are ridiculously good at adapting to different environmental conditions. What we see here is a temperature graph over the past 2 million years, and what you can see is that this bit over here of 2 million years ago, the climate does fluctuate, but it's not as drastic. And over here, it gets a lot bigger. And so one of the theories is that other Homo species weren't as good at adapting to these extreme fluctuations in temperature as Homo sapiens, so they died.